Mm, Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. Your ghost host with the most, Jacob here.
And Blue Dragon 5, here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs to recount our spooky selection of Halloween classics, man. Zoinks!
So light the jack-o'-lantern, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's spooky selection, the Scooby-Doo Project. All right, so yeah, we're doing something a little different this time. Instead of like a specific episode or a movie, this is actually a series of bumpers that aired in Halloween 1999 on Cartoon Network. So, Dragon, what do you takes on that?
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, watching this, I think I remember the buzz around this, and I think I may have caught like a little bit of the bumper. I never caught the full thing, I know that much. But watching this makes me wistful for old school Cartoon Network marketing. It sure does. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Um, I love that too. It's kind of breaching on something I think is probably Scooby Doo at its most popular. Well, I guess debatably one modern exception, but besides that, Scooby Doo with kind of a meta self-referential take is such a joy. I mean, this is like this thing comes out post Zombie Island. That was very much kind of the start of like when we were starting to do that with Scooby Doo, and then we have I think probably the best example ever, which this is kind of like in the middle of. You have so you probably start with Zombie Island, you have this, and then down the line you have Scooby Natural. It's like the best example of this sort of thing. So this is kind of a stepping stone. It's kind of an underground stepping stone that gets us from point A to point B, and it also kind of brings us into a kind of a cross nexus of mediums.
If you think about it, though, it's kind of a reversal of Scooby Natural, though.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, it's kind of like one particular scene from Scooby Natural where the mystery gang kind of wakes up to what's going on, and they're not taking it well. So it's kind of like, what if you took that and made into a full episode? That's essentially what this is.
Yeah, and instead of Sam and Dean being sucked into like the animated world, the Scooby Gang actually is actually in the real world.
Kind of like Ring to some degree, or The Ring, or whichever permutation of the. Which is the one with the tape?
Well, both have the tape.
Well, I know. Oh wait, really? They both. Okay, well,
Hey,
whichever.
both the Japanese version and the English and the American version have the cursed videotape.
Well, which
Yeah,
one has "the" in the title?
the English one.
Okay, so the English. The point being, Ring or The Ring, whichever you want. It's kind of like that. Only with
If you're referring to the one directed by Gore Verbinski, then that one. And that's
Well, yeah, I believe that's the one I'm referring to. I'm just saying. I guess if I don't know how different the two versions are, I'm going to assume anyway.
some of them said there are some different aspects between the two of them.
Okay, my point is, it's kind of like what if Scooby Doo gets sucked into Blair Witch.
Kind of, except it is kind of like that, yeah. Like I said, it is kind of interesting though, as I said before, that it's not actually like an episode of a show or even something that like even a crossover that they did or even their own show, but it's a series of adverts that aired during a marathon on Cartoon Network.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but I get exactly where you're coming from, though. Like, I'm not necessarily sure of the whole ring aspect because the whole ring thing is like someone coming out of the TV. but I do kind of see your supernatural point.
Yeah. All right. So we have some comments.
Like, should we start with like the very first ones?
Yeah. Sure. Let's work down a little bit. Yeah.
We have Code Gias. I hope that you're having a nice day. Thank you, Code Gias. I'm a fan of obscure Cartoon Network stuff, so I have heard of this. It was very cool, creative, and fun. Richard's Victims is back, saying you guys are really going all out this year, reviewing a marketing campaign.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if the shoe fits, right, Dragon?
Yeah.
I already pointed out it's okay. I made the joke. Now we can move on.
Right.
CN used to have the most inventive bumpers and promos. Like they had all kinds of fun crossovers. Like,
Oh, that they did.
remember like Cartoon Network City or whatever it was called?
Yeah, one of my favorites was from Megas XLR. You had Megas and the Mystery Machine going for like a drag race.
Oh, nice. That would have been awesome.
It was hilarious. Oh man, it was great too because like like they're kind of hitting on Daphne and Fred gets offended and you're basically challenging. So you think that jalopy can do it? What's a jalopy? And they're running. They basically have Megas running down the streets. The Mystery Machine's like burn off to the side.
Dang, that's savage.
Awesome.
But yeah, like all of their crossovers, like all the characters interacted with each other. That was amazing. I think some of them are still on YouTube. I'm not sure about. I hope the Megas XLR one is because I'd love.
No, it is. It's on YouTube. You can find it very easily.
Huh.
I don't know if there's like any bumpers you can't find on YouTube. I want to say they're all on YouTube. I don't know if they're all like a giant compilation or anything, but
All right, I'll have to give them a look because those were great.
Yeah.
And then Velma came along and ruined
yeah,
it.
that's what I was kind of alluding to with the whole, the whole like kind of a meta self-referential sort of thing. But
that's something that took it too far without also understanding the original source material.
Yeah, it ain't pretty, kids. So,
and also we have Little Blue who just commented saying, "Have you guys seen an old YouTube video of the Muppets doing a Blair Witch hunting, the Bear Witch Project?"
It does sound rather funny, but no, I have not seen it.
I don't know if it's an official project, then I'd love to see that.
I mean, it makes sense. It might have been something they would have attempted, but during the big resurgence of Muppets.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
You remember that was kind of how they slowly made their comeback with all the YouTube videos before we got the Muppets in 2011.
And also, and then we got sporadic appearances afterwards.
Of course.
And, speaking of although recently, as of last year, we actually did get a bit of a Halloween Muppets with Muppets Haunted Mansion, which was good.
Muppet Haunted Mansion. All right, so
where's that lightning coming from?
All right, so a little bit of background on this, not a lot, but we kind of circled around it, just in case you're wondering how the heck we got this in the first place. So, obviously the Blair Witch Project was very big in '94.
99.
Well, I know this was in '99, but I'm saying Blair Witch was in '94, Jacob. Or was it not?
No.
You're sure about that?
Release date: July 23rd to January 23rd, 99 at Sundance. July 14th, 1999.
I apologize, and I was misled. Point being, Blair Witch came out in '99, early '99.
I mean, the development began in like '93 and '94, so that might be where that came from.
I wonder if there's any marketing like around like a test footage thing for Blair Witch. Maybe that's what got the wires crossed. But let's just say Blair Witch was in development and eventually came out in '99, created such a buzz, and in the year it came out, Scooby-Doo, meanwhile, was back on the rise with, I believe, it's Mook Studios, right? It was Mook Studios. What we that was what we had with Zombie Island, Witch's Ghost, Alien Invaders, and Cyber Chase.
I believe, yep. Mook Animation did the
Mook.
work.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure it was Mook. So, because a very memorable name, it'd be hard to kind of like, how is it not Mook?
Yep, they just did the animation though.
Well, no, sure. I'm just saying, like, they all had very distinct looks. And I love the Mook Studios version. Those 4 Mook Studios Scooby-Doo films. They're great. So Zombie Island had come out around this time, around this time. So Scooby-Doo was kind of back on the rise. So it was kind of like, and they were trying to kind of promote it and just kind of the stuff that was going on there. And an opportunity. Basically, there's an opportunity to advertise with bumpers, with what Cartoon Network was doing, and trying to kind of spice things up. So, Casper Kelly and Larry Morris, I think, they were the writers and kind of co-directors on this. And there are a few others as well, but these guys are kind of spearheading the whole thing. Casper Kelly. So they basically proposed, like, hey, Blair Witch came out, it's pretty big. You guys are advertising Scooby-Doo marathons. Why don't we try something like this? And then they did a little bit of test footage of one scene that is in the bumpers, which is Daphne running in the woods. That was the animation test, and they basically showed it to Cartoon Network, and it says like, okay, we like this. Just make it so it's like you could snip it out and just kind of put it between things, and yeah, we'll do it. So they got the green light. They went to Toronto because that's where the promotional mystery machine was. They shot most of this in Toronto. They had pretty much a network budget, so that's why it's inventive with how low budget they had on this. And it's pretty much these guys doing it pretty much on their own. So they're shooting it there. They have like friends and family and the homes of friends and family, and like a little bit of central casting going on for kind of like the human players that we have in this thing. Like usually it's like I think some of their parents are playing like the odd onlookers. All the records for the voices of Scooby Cast, which basically was the Mook Studios gang at the time. Like Scott and Nez, Shaggy and Scooby, that sort of era. That was B.J. Ward, and I believe I want to say it was I don't believe this is great. I think this was Mary Kay Bergman.
It was.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's Mary Kay Bergman. So this is probably again like right on the line before we make the changeover. So anyway.
And Mary Kay Bergman was in Zombie Island.
That's what I'm saying. So she was in Zombie Island. So this is like after that. So this is before, like I believe Bergman's last one was Invaders, right?
Let me double check.
Yeah, sure. Double check that, Jacob. Also, find out what the year it was on some of the Mook films, if you don't mind. I want to see if I can pinpoint where exactly this is amidst all that.
Yeah, her last Scooby-Doo project was Alien Invaders.
Yeah.
And then the one after that is when Greg Griffin took over.
Yes. In our hearts, still Isle, but yes, Greg Griffin.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So, okay, so all the record sessions were over the phone for all of this, which is interesting. Given it seems very it seems very interactive. Seems very much like something. I know ordinarily they're going to record separately anyway. But I don't know. It felt something kind of special about the record on this one. But yeah, it was phoned in, but not in the performance. So also it aired on Halloween night.
Yep, and for like one time only too.
Yep, one time only.
It's like they aired it. From what I understand, like they aired the individual segments in blocks, but then at the end, they aired the whole thing.
Which is cool.
Yep. And the whole thing's like been collected on YouTube. Like Cartoon Network themselves actually uploaded a version of it on YouTube, but they cut out a bunch of stuff.
And then over the years, there have been a number of versions. Like even the director's cut isn't everything. Like the version we have is everything. So it's kind of interesting.
I found the one I linked in the description is actually like a 25-minute one. There is I did see a 30-minute one. I think that's just like a bunch of other stuff in there.
And you gotta remember, even the 25-minute one we have, it does have stuff it basically repeats like some of the prelude and stuff.
Yeah, but it's still the best one I could find.
No, I agree, Jay. I'm just saying that time-wise, I think technically, according to the director's cut's roughly 17, 18 minutes. So then you have like the bumpers, which is probably an added 2 minutes, and then I don't know. It's I don't know I don't know if they were missing something or not. But the point being is, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what the exact full version is. But this is essentially the fullest version that we had that had the most footage that we found. So
Yep.
Okay, so this won an Annie Award, if you can believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe it. Like, it's like outstanding animated special project. Yeah. Which is pretty impressive. I mean, Scooby-Doo's not normally known. Stuff is not usually known to win awards.
The word on the street is, this kind of scared kids, which is why it was kind of buried over time, which is why they didn't really use the bumper all that much.
I mean, looking at it from even now, I can kind of see why that they wouldn't. I mean, they wouldn't show it that would scare kids. I mean, considering the fact that it was parodying the Blair Witch Project, it doesn't really surprise me all too much.
Yep.
But it is kind of funny, and now they seem to kind of embrace it. Hey, yeah, look, there it is for all to see now. I wish they just actually show it on, Cartoon Network now.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it's ever going to make a resurgence, you'd think, at least next year.
Yeah, considering next year is actually the 25th anniversary of both this and Blair Witch.
Yeah. Okay. So, all that said, let's start breaking it down.
Oh, yeah.
So again, folks, so we were looking at the 25-minute version. So it's the same core story. So just go along with us here. So opens by setting the tone where we have like the crime scene tape and the crime scene pictures of the mystery machine being all abandoned in the woods, and we have a sheriff character walking people through a press conference to what they found.
Like a bunch of tapes of Scooby-Doo episodes.
Yep, 24 hours of them.
Yep. Kind of little on the nose there, but it works.
Yep, and they've been released. They're going to be released. They're going to be all released to the press in a marathon. You got to watch the marathon to know what happened to Mystery Gang.
It does kind of interestingly utilize the live action element.
I do enjoy found footage, especially when we have like a good kind of sell like that. So as an event, that's if you're a kid watching this, like, oh god, I got to find out what happened to the Scooby Gang. I got to watch this whole marathon.
Yep, it's like, and it's on Halloween night too, so like you'd have to unless trick or treating was a different night, you'd have to choose between that or this.
Or just back in the day, especially in '99, you tape it.
I mean, true, but not everybody had that capability.
Right.
But fortunately, though, we now have the advent of YouTube.
Yes, thank goodness. So we have. The thing starts, and we have text on the screen. And the text on the screen says, October of 1999. Essentially, the Scooby Gang, like 4 teenagers and their Great Dane, were lost in the woods chasing a mystery.
And this is their story.
Yep.
Which of course is a parody of the intro of the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. So
we have some more comments actually. Regarding the Muppets things, like it came out in 2006, not the Muppets themselves, so it might have just been like a fan project, looks like. Since the Scooby-Doo project isn't an official episode, I like to imagine that it's not easy to access. Richard's Victims also has a request like do a holiday hijinks for the first episode of Stranger Things.
Well, we did a holiday hijinks on the Halloween episode of Stranger Things.
All right. Honestly, I want a full Scooby-Doo Halloween special in this title. I mean, they've done two Halloween movies recently, so I don't know if that counts.
As far as I'm concerned, we have Scooby Natural. That's all the Scooby-Doo Halloween that we need.
Fair enough. Did you watch this when it first came out? I personally discovered it later.
I'm thinking I've seen a little bit of the bumpers, like probably on that night when it aired, but I cannot. I never saw like the full thing until this. So.
Yeah, he's like I said, I discovered it while browsing Scooby Media, and I was like, I wonder what that is. And we have a guest, Theme Park Priest.
Hey.
Haven't seen you in a while, Theme Park Priest. Nice to have you back. So, Dragon, sorry to interrupt, but continue.
Anyway, so we set up our found footage device, which is Velma. She's doing a little documentary, tracking one of their mysteries this time. So.
Yep,
and again, a little similar to Zombie Island with documenting the mystery.
And it introduces the gangs it's like Daphne Blake, Fred Jones, Velma Dinkley, and Scooby-Doo, and of course Norville.
Norville Rogers, it's Shaggy.
Nobody calls me Norville. At least not for like another 25 years.
Yep.
But we don't talk about that.
No, we don't talk about that. No.
Richard's Victims has another comment. Scooby Natural's in a bad show, though.
Well, so Supernatural is one of those weird things where the first 5 seasons were good because that's when the showrunner was there, and then after those 5 seasons is when things kind of dip sporadically. There were good episodes, but it basically languished. And I want to be clear. It wasn't like the full CW, like the CW curse, I mean, this whole special we're talking about now has about a curse, but still, just the fact. It's not like the CW curse, like after 2 seasons, it's completely downhill. Supernatural was like a weird exception where you had good seasons, you had odd seasons, even the long-winded seasons, you had episodes like Scooby Natural, which were like amazing, so it wasn't all bad, and it did have a solid ending.
And it is amazing how seamless that the whole Scooby Natural thing even was.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Supernatural is like this weird kind of like hanging Chad where the whole CW thing is concerned. It's no Riverdale. I mean, very close. No Riverdale. So it's not even so,
I mean, for a while, Supernatural was like the reason to watch CW.
Yeah.
All right, but nobody calls me normal. That's proof that the Velma show isn't canon.
There you go.
Unfortunately, I don't think they're ever claiming to be like canon to the official Scooby-verse and anyway. But
They were insane if they thought they were going to be the definitive Scooby-Doo show.
yeah, there are, as people point out, there are better ways to make more mature, even adult takes on that. I mean, heck, the two live action movies and even Zombie Island are indicative like that they can still be dark and mature.
Yep. We had actual corpses in that Zombie Island movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stop mentioning that abomination of a comedy. Well, we're only mentioning it because we're pointing out how much of an abomination it is.
Yep. Okay.
But to be fair to its victims, they'll try. Outside of saying one of the characters' names, we will not be mentioning the show.
Don't tell us. Tell Gias, man.
well, yeah. So, like I said, we'll try to avoid it. Obviously, we mentioned the characters' names, but that's a given.
Okay, so seriously though, I see. Unfortunately, our Blair Witch expert is not here with us. But Jacob, you've seen Blair Witch, haven't you?
I've seen like bits and pieces of it, and I've read up on it.
As I'm saying, like I know the bare minimum about Blair Witch, and unfortunately, our expert is called in sick today. But the point being, I wonder if that's an oddly specific gag, the whole like Norville to Shaggy thing. I wonder if maybe there's like that's in reference to some banter at the top of the framing device of Blair Witch, but I can't really recall.
I mean, for all I know, it could be that, or it could be just a reference to that nobody actually calls him Norville. And
that's true.
I mean, I think it was actually a pup named Scooby-Doo that canonized his first name as Norville.
I don't know. I wonder. Are you sure we hadn't like Norville wasn't like driver's license and stuff before that?
I'm fairly certain. I mean, I might be mistaken, but I believe it was. And I said, believe it or not, a pup named Scooby-Doo actually canonized a lot of like personality traits and backgrounds that would later go on to be retroactively added to like to adult counterparts. Like
I ain't complaining. I love me a pup named Scooby-Doo.
I mean, I do too. We definitely would have included on our great ranking podcast. It was in the 90s.
Yep.
But like I said, it canonized the fact that Daphne comes from a rich family. I mean, it was kind of implied before, but that like made it official. Mm-hmm. Like it canonized the fact that Shaggy. I believe, like I said, Shaggy's name being Shaggy Roger being Norville.
Yep.
Or something along those lines. Yeah. I know it basically made a lot of that stuff standard.
Yeah. Of course, I don't care what anyone says. Red herring is canon.
Yes.
I don't care what anyone says.
Even if he didn't do it.
Even if he didn't do it.
It's like, and the one time he did do it, Fred wasn't allowed to say anything.
God, I love it so much.
Oh yeah.
Anywho, live action Scooby snacks. Jacob, look at the live action Scooby snacks.
Yes, look at them. They look like just standard biscuits.
You know what? This is gonna be the darnest thing. I wonder if you had this when I was a kid, and especially with Pup Named Scooby-Doo. When I was a kid and I saw the Scooby snacks on Pup Named Scooby-Doo, I always assumed I never factored in the dog logic, but let's just say I always thought they were chocolate.
Like I always thought they were like different kinds of flavors.
Well, I know they had a couple different versions, but I'm just saying primarily is the design of the Pup Named Scooby-Doo ones. They always were brown, like in a paw shape or something. I always thought they were chocolate.
I thought they were like kind of like cookies or something, not necessarily dog treats.
Well, sure, that's something like like a chocolate or a chocolate like a cookie of some, but still like something that was like not that's the thing. It always seemed like because Shaggy could eat them, and you'd think Shaggy certainly wouldn't eat dog food, but Well,
then again, it's Shaggy we're talking.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing when you think about it, though. But that was like the kid logic. But yeah, the fact is like gravy flavored Scooby snacks. Like, huh? Well, I guess that tracks.
Yep.
I always assumed chocolate, but when you think about it, dogs can't have chocolate. But then again, Scooby-Doo is kind of an exception to that rule because he can eat anything. So, point being, yeah.
Yeah, don't feed your dogs chocolate.
Yeah.
It may be a chocolate lab, but it cannot eat chocolate.
That's the thing. It makes me really wonder if we went back into Scooby-Doo, if they ever obeyed like the chocolate rule with Scooby-Doo. Because remember, of all the foods I've eaten, has there ever been chocolate stuff?
I mean, considering like you once remember Witch's Ghost, they ate out a whole buffet. So
I know that's the thing, but can you remember anything chocolate though?
I'm fairly certain they probably had like chocolate ice cream or chocolate syrup on certain things. So
that's the thing. That was mostly dinner. It wasn't really breakfast. I don't know. I didn't see any ice cream there. Not that I can recall.
Richard's video like Scooby's a talking dog. All rules go out the door.
I know, right? That's the thing. I'm pretty sure he's violated it. I don't know. It's like I'm trying to think back. I mean, I can't remember him eating anything chocolate.
I mean, I don't know if it's ever like specifically been called out, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if there has been a time when Scooby-Doo did eat chocolate.
Because you'd have to assume he's had to have. He's given all the food that he and Shaggy eat. There's got to be like an ice cream thing somewhere.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's what I thought. Like, like especially like during like the buffet scene in Witch's Ghost.
I know, yeah, believe me, I've memorized that buffet scene. Because of that, I'm saying I don't think there's any chocolate in that scene.
Well, I'll have to rewatch Witch's Ghost, which unfortunately I don't think is on Max right now.
Which is why I bought them all on DVD.
Oh, you're a smarter man than I in that regard.
Well, at least really it's just the Mook Studios one, that and the Brave and the Bold one. But yeah,
I said you're a smarter man than I in that regard.
I have my moments. So
I'm pretty sure we could just buy them on Amazon anyway.
well, yeah, Jacob, you can do that.
But I'm a physical media kind of guy most of the time.
Yes.
But moving on.
Gravy flavored Scooby snacks is the takeaway here. Meanwhile, but it seemed that I don't know. It's just to me, I want to highlight this just with everything we're doing here with the whole crossing of the two mediums. I like the logic that we're kind of doing an equivalent to in Scooby-Doo. And we called this out in Scooby Natural awesomely. It was like one of those things as a kid always drove me nuts in this here in Scooby Natural, like call it out. The fact of we have like the things that are painted into the background except for the thing you need to animate, so it becomes suddenly the one thing that's not painted into the background. So it feels like the correlation here is that we have live action things, but we're seeing certain items in live action, certain things. It's like like the live action stuff's almost like the painted backgrounds we're usually not allowed to interact with.
Yep. Like we see them interacting with live action items, and then people interacting with animated objects.
That's the thing. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like I think it's like a little tongue-in-cheek nod to that sort of thing. I like to think. It's probably an inevitability of like if you're going to blend the two mediums, that kind of thing has to work like that. But I don't know. It's just kind of reminded me a lot of that.
Richard's victims came up with this. A podcast dedicated to watching every Scooby-Doo media just to answer Scooby ever ate chocolate.
I mean, it would be kind of funny if we just went through them. It's like we're on chocolate watch, and like the moment we do, that's the end of the podcast. Like period. Like okay, yeah, chocolate, we're done.
Or count how many times he has eaten chocolate.
Yep, and we say dead dog, dead dog, dead dog.
This is a brilliant joke podcast idea.
Yep.
CN now has October themed marathons of October themed around Scooby-Doo.
That is nice. I wonder if they're going to put that Halloween special they did recently on there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the gang's gearing up to get ready to go, and then they go around interviewing a couple of people.
Again, these are the friends and family and central casting guys that they kind of found.
I gotta say they did a pretty good job for what they had to work with.
Yeah. So they again, because of such a low budget, that's why they had friends and family and such in this.
I mean, like I said, it's not like the live action actors did a bad job. They kind of just seemed like they did a good job, like acting like random people off the street.
Yeah, they're yokels, man. They played yokels well.
Yep. Sounds like, and of course, like that last lady that they talked to is like, it's like talking about seeing. I hadn't seen it. It's like I bet she hasn't seen a dentist either.
Okay, so that gag's okay. So a couple things there. So that lady actually is an actress. That one was a central casting. But they had the black outer teeth, and they had like the directors had like the paint out the black teeth, which is funny. But yeah, so it's like don't go in those woods. It's cursed. I don't get anywhere near them. And Shaggy's and like I bet you never goes anywhere near a dentist either. And it's a Shaggy.
So that's one thing that also separates the support from the other Scooby-Doo stuff, like the gang's banter.
Yeah, so I love it's we're starting to that moment is like we're striving to push the norm here. It's like that's the big. I think that moment's like the first big one with Shaggy. Or okay, we're getting a little edgier here. We're doing stuff we don't usually do. Like Shaggy's being a little saucy here. Like saying yeah. Shaggy's saying what we're all thinking this whole special. If you think about it, he's the one saying like he's calling out all the Scooby tropes and he's calling out it looked weird. Let's talk about
it. Yep, it's like these trees look a little realistic,
which is great. Just him, I love he's getting nervous. Like we're not in Kansas anymore here. We're live action.
These woods aren't our usual woods.
So
and of course, everybody's mocking the way Scooby-Doo used to talk.
Mm-hmm. Yep. With the whole, the cats and the rats and cats sort of thing. Rats.
No, cat. Yeah, rats. It's like, yeah, when Shaggy's the voice of reason, you know things are messed up.
So I love this. I love how Fred, he starts off so darn chipper in this. He says, "Oh, don't forget, it's my turn to pull off the mask." He thinks this is gonna be like a one and done, like we'll be out of here by breakfast sort of thing. It's gonna be like a fun camping trip. We're gonna unmask the guy, and we're gonna be out in the morning. That's what he thinks this whole excursion. He might even think not even breakfast. He might think, okay, we're gonna have some midnight snacks. We're gonna get out of here. Like we'll roast some marshmallows after we unmask the guy, and we're out of here.
Yep. But of course, their camping trip obviously goes awry when upon the discovery of their campsite, which is next to a cemetery.
I love the bye van, by the way. It's like bye van. It's like, and here's the tragedy. It's like, and that's the last time they're ever gonna see it. It's
Exactly.
like, oh no, if Fred only knew.
Yep.
Yep. Like, and Shaggy makes a great point. This is very true to all Scooby-Doo stuff. You're like, why do we go places when it's almost dark?
It's like, yeah, they could have just stayed inside the van until it was the next day.
Yep. So yes, they're camping near a cemetery, and I love that Velma's starting to go into like the legend. In 1773, and Shaggy's like, "Oh, la, 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 I don't want to hear it."
Shaggy and Scooby didn't want to hear any of that.
Daphne suspects it's the guy with the mutant story from earlier. Basically, Daphne assumes the same old guy wants us off his land or off the land, so he's scaring people. And Daphne's starting to get on edge already.
Oh yeah, like she holds on for a bit longer than some of the others, but she definitely starts cracking early too.
Yep, and let's see. So we have this sort of thing here, where they're slowly but surely all getting ticked off at Velma here. Like, what are you just gonna record of us being lost in the woods? So Fred's getting real peeved at Velma here already, which is just hearing Frank Welker get ticked off is just kind of endlessly funny.
It's like, and when they're like pitching the tent.
Hey Velma, it got a lot easier if you put down the camera.
And then, when she's like, "But I need to make sure we don't miss it," and then everyone's like, "Turn it off!"
Yep, and they're building one tent. They're all gonna have to share one tent, and they have like a dog, and it's gonna be
basically tensions are already beginning to mount.
Yep. So I gotta be honest. I love just with the found footage. I like there's almost like a reality show context to like the Scooby Gang. It's the only way you'd watch any reality show. It's like the Scooby Gang.
I mean, I'd watch a animated reality show.
Exactly.
But only if it's actually takes place in real life. Not something like drawn together or something like that.
Oh, well, of course. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's it. Let's see. So so putting the tent up, and the fun fact here. So when the shooting of this, the way it works is, even on a low budget, the way they did it was they're using a kind of a rudimentary kind of puppetry technique almost, where they're when they're putting up the tent, they're painting out their hands that are doing it and animating like the hands and stuff over, and that's why like on those certain like the things are off screen, like when they're pounding the hammer and everything. So it's kind of rudimentary kind of puppetry in quotes, not actual puppetry, but some kind of paint. That's how the effect works for a lot of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean that's like kind of with standard stuff when they're like doing the live action animation stuff.
It's a very very rudimentary version of what we did in Roger Rabbit, where we kind of painted over like the armatures and stuff.
Yeah, there's obviously like a massive difference in budget. It's like
that's what I'm saying. This is like the most scaled down version of it.
I mean, this is just a rough estimate, but I'm guessing that there's probably Roger Rabbit probably had like 10 or probably 99% more budget than this.
About right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Roger Rabbit paid off. Heck, we talked about its anniversary earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
So watch that, guys, if you can. But it works for what this kind of show kind of does, and they still kind of make it look like the old classic cheap John Hanna-Barbera stuff. So it also works to add to the charm of the series.
I do really love using the camera as the light source in the darkness. I do really like that.
I mean, to be fair, that is kind of standard in most found footage stuff as well.
I know. I don't know. It was cool. So
I'm not denying that.
There's reason we have some sleeping bag shenanigans going on there, where everyone's like in everyone's way and feet are in people's faces and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. One sleeping, like yeah, they have. You'd think that with a group of 4 people and a dog, they would have more than just one tent.
Yep.
Maybe it wasn't in the budget.
But I think it was more just like I don't think collectively for some reason even though
I meant
Fred.
I meant in the I meant in the show's universe.
I'm just saying in general though, it feels like it's kind of weird. Like nowadays, since the Mystery Incorporated show, which I love,
Oh yeah, it's great.
Fred is always very trap obsessed. So you think he'd be able to put up a tent like a champ, but this is kind of before that, so it might be the idea like at least for the comedic purposes here, like they're not really competent enough to put up many tents, so they're just going to put up one big one.
Yeah, but even then, it's not enough to fit 4 people and a dog.
Nope.
4 teens and a dog sounds like a great late '90s comedy movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's essentially what the live-action Scooby-Doo movies were.
Yep. 4 teens and a dog.
Yep.
Well, 4 people pretending to be teens and a dog.
Well, I don't know if they're necessarily pretending to be teens per se, but more like adult versions of the characters that they previously were.
Yep. Four college students or college rejects and a dog.
Yes.
Yep. Anyway, so let's see. So Velma, this is great. She has like the flashlight under her chin. She's trying to do a scary story, and this is a genius gag. It's not a ghost story. Shaggy points out that's not a ghost story. We were all there. I was the old ship captain.
I'm guessing that's supposed to be reference to Captain Cutler, perhaps.
That sounds right. I think that's who it was supposed to be.
I mean, that's the only ship captain I know that ever appeared in Scooby-Doo. I'm sure there's probably been more than one, but at this point, it most likely was a reference to Captain Cutler.
Yeah.
She's like, we were all there. That is a great gag. And then she's like, oh yeah. I wonder if that means like Velma's not very good at telling horror stories. That she had to like borrow one from one of their mysteries.
I think that's right. I think that's what I read it as.
But even Shaggy, it's just funny that Shaggy's the one to point it out.
Well, he was there. He was traumatized by it.
I mean, that is true.
All right, so let's see. So they're like Scooby and Shaggy. They're doing this like trip to the moon food listing gag. It's almost like a car game, but I guess time to fall asleep by, and Scooby falls asleep.
Yeah, it's like alphabetized, like naming fruits in alphabetical order. Like apples, bananas, I forget cantaloupe, I forget what the other stuff he mentioned were. But,
yep.
But that's it. Yeah, it's basically one of those mnemonic games to help you fall asleep.
All right, so we hear. Oh, this is great. So we hear some sounds going on outside the tent, and Scooby and Shaggy they refuse. Split up this time. They are not going out there, despite what Fred's saying. Like, can't you guys go out there and like dress up as surgeons and like confuse the monster and tie him down to a gurney or something?
We're in the middle of the woods. Where are we gonna get a gurney?
What improvise?
And we don't.
Just hysterical because this is the sort of thing like they always do that, but how are we going to pull that out of hammer space in the middle of the woods?
Yeah, and the fact that we don't even learn what that particular instance of the noise was.
Yeah.
It's like the entire episode mainly focuses on being funny, but there are some legitimately creepy instances in this episode.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're in the POV of the kid watching this, it's like, oh man, that is kind of I can absolutely see why this would unsettle a kid because you're in. It's almost like a nightmare version of Scooby-Doo to some degree, in which you're seeing it from your POV. And it's in live action, but you have the illusion of Scooby-Doo characters, but they're actually genuinely scared. And it's the thing in Scooby-Doo where we never mention the actual threat of death in Scooby-Doo ever. Really, there's the fact that they're not walking away from this one. There's actual stakes.
I mean, this entire thing kind of would play out almost like a fever dream. Like some kids, I can see some kids like probably just thinking that this was made up in their heads.
Yeah.
At that time, like because
I'm saying, yeah.
So yeah.
But did I just see what I thought I saw?
It's like, did the gang die?
I mean, they're still missing.
Yep.
I mean, they're essentially missing until the next Mookie Animation studio. The next Mook Studios Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah, because this was before the whole What's New Scooby-Doo series came out too.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so
as far as new TV projects, I was like, well, of course, there was Night of the Living Due after this, I believe, in like 2001. But I haven't seen that. Maybe we could cover that in a couple of years.
we'll see.
I think that was more of like a more comedic approach than this one is.
All right, so there's a stack of stale Scooby snacks.
It's like, oh no! It's like, Shaggy, what's wrong? They're stale. Of course, that is like a foodie's worst nightmare. You just imagine you're like gonna go eat your favorite snack. You look, especially in like a stressful situation, and you realize, oh no, it's stale. Have you ever been in that kind of situation, Dragon?
Well, I always, well, I mean, I've been in a situation where like, oh boy, they're my favorite cookies, and then I'm going, but I'm like, ah, man, they're at a date.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, what kind of
Yeah,
cookie?
sometimes you have to buy them in bulk, and it's like a thing where these are cookies that traditionally are okay past a certain date, but it's like it's like oh no, it's like the cookies there, but it's there's no homogenized crunch. It's just flaky, just dry, like disappointment in a circle.
What kind of cookies, by the way?
Butter crunch. I love me some butter crunch, but when it's not stale.
That sounds good.
Yeah, butter crunch. I mean, my go-to cookies, but I kind of had the stale experience with. There's butter crunch, which is good, but I guess unless you had for a long time, or worst case, if there's ever like a little tear in the bag, you'll get because it come bagged in threes, you'll get like the stale effect. Otherwise, there's iced oatmeal cookies, no raisins, just the oatmeal. Anyway,
I don't really not a big fan of raisins either.
that's what I'm saying. So with the oatmeal cookies, those are good, but sometimes if they're like,
give me a good freshly baked Toll House chocolate chunk any day.
anyway, yeah, but the oatmeal is like you have like a thing where stale oatmeal is like basically the thing when the cookie when you take the bite and it just kind of falls apart. That's how you know it's there's there's that horror kind of like stale, like oh man, I was expecting something good and tasty, and it's just crumbs in my hand now.
Like nothing but broken dreams.
Exactly, cookie crumbs and broken dreams.
That'd be a good book title.
There you go, cookie crumbs and broken dreams. Broken dreams.
That'd be like a child's autobiography, like a 6-year-old's autobiography.
Yep, that's how the cookie crumbled.
Yeah, that too.
All right.
It's like, we always get into food related tangents.
That we do. Anyway, so Fred, he's calling out the formula. This I thought was really charming, hearing Frank Welker call out the formula, but in a wistful way of just like, it's I kind of miss it in this way. What you miss? Like, it feels like we'd kind of get this done in like 22 minutes. It's like, we do thing, we find the monster, we unmask him, we go home, like a 22-minute process. There's something kind of charming about, and kind of a legacy factor of him looking back on how simple it goes and being self-aware of like how their little adventures traditionally go.
Yep, and obviously this was like they'd only had like one movie by this point, so that wasn't the norm.
Yeah.
Now we get movies by them like every year, so that's basically more normal than their 22-minute adventures.
Yeah. So we find a pile of Scooby snacks, and it is very likely the seemingly cursed and haunted Scooby snacks, and Shaggy doesn't want any part of them.
And so Scooby's like, okay, I'll eat them.
And then Shaggy determines, like, Scooby, did you trick me? Did you put those there?
It's like, I'm going to eat them. Oh, God, Shaggy.
All right, so Daphne is complaining about, this is a landmark gag. So Daphne's complaining about her feet hurting because she's walking in heels through here, and Velma's just kind of had it, saying they're all just very catty at this point. It's like a day's gone by, and they're still stuck, and they can't. It's so simple. They can't find the car. They cannot find the mystery machine.
Well, it's not our fault. You decided to wear high heels on a camping trip. And then Daphne's like, at least I try to look feminine.
The way we hold on Velma is just priceless. Just seeing her like, oh man, I'm so peeved. It's like, oh, Daphne, I'm just so done with you right now. Like, man.
It's just like you can feel like Velma's ire in that moment. Like she's like, seriously, you just had to go there.
So then things go from bad to worse. Where Velma has no idea. She has no idea what she's doing, and they're all kind of determining, like, yeah, man, Velma doesn't know what she's doing, and Fred doesn't know what he's doing. So we're really running out of options here.
And not to mention the map.
That's what we're about to get there. Just give us 1 second. So,
I love the map gag. Like,
so,
but we'll work to it. Go on, as you said.
so we had the live action map.
Yeah.
So
it's literally dotted lines and an X.
And a tree. It's like a tree and an X and dotted lines and the mystery machine. That's all it is. So there.
Which Shaggy was like, how is this any help? It's just dotted lines and an X.
So honestly, when the map showed up, that was my main example for the live action kind of for the whole painted backgrounds to live action equivalency, where it feels like the map would be something, or if it's in their hands, it'd be animated. But since it's out of their hands, it's kind of a background element, so it is live action. So,
I mean, we do, and remember, whenever they're holding the map, it's like they always have like their backs towards us, so we can't see them actually holding the map.
Exactly. So Fred and Velma, they lost the map and they're arguing over, like, Velma, I don't want to get mad at you, but you got to stop kidding around.
It's like I don't have the map. I gave it to you, and then I gave it back.
Now, Scooby and Shaggy are just kind of laughing manically, very intimidatingly. He's like, "We ate it.
You ate the map.
We put Tabasco sauce on and we ate it.
Well,
This was useless."
Yeah, but I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's almost
Shaggy,
like
Shaggy and Scooby are not wrong.
it reminds me a little bit of the old. It's an old vaudevillian thing, but Abbott and Costello also did it. I think, I don't know if most famously, but they did, like Tom and Jerry would do. It's like an old school comedy bit where the starving man will look through like a cookbook or something, and he'll eat the pages from the book. So I remember Abbott Costello were like, they were kind of down their luck and like looking through like a book, and like Lou saying, "Oh man, turkey looks good. Yeah, you can have it." And he's like tears out the page and Lou's eating.
You could call it a high fiber diet.
Sure. The high page count.
Yes.
So later the gangs just really tick off at each other, and okay, like, why do you always drive, Fred? And I love Frank Welker just losing his crap here. It's just going like, well, maybe. Oh, you wanted to take it there? Well, maybe if you chipped in for gas now and again.
And just they're like, why do you always drive anyway?
Well, maybe if you chipped in for gas now and once in a while, maybe you can drive. And Velma has no response to that because she knows he's got her over a barrel.
I mean, basically everyone in this episode almost goes after Velma. To be fair, and
Velma tries to blame it on the dog.
Yeah, and to be fair, so she also does try to blame others too. So.
Yep, Scooby's like agreeing with Fred, and it's like, does anyone understand what this dog is saying?
And Shaggy like, hey, lay off the dog.
Yeah. So then
okay, lay off Scoob.
Yep. All right. So meanwhile, Daphne wants to go home, and just again, Fred is just he's trying to keep it together. Like, I'm working on it. I've been there. I've been that Fred. I've been like, oh, I'm working on it.
Care to share the personal note for that one, or a personal note for that one?
There's a lot of examples.
Okay, a brief one.
I don't think that's a good idea, Jacob.
Okay, I mean, all right, I'll hold off. I won't ask.
Anyway, so we then have.
Although to be fair, I think almost that point, almost everyone's been afraid of that Fred, one of their.
Yeah, everyone's been there.
Yep. It's like I basically love how like pokes fun at like both the Blair Witch stuff and also the stuff that. The standard Scooby-Doo stuff.
I think they kind of checked off all the Scooby-Doo bingo spots in the old bingo card.
Yep, there's all kinds of stuff in there, like Shaggy saying zoinks, and then it's like, what? Gee, and Velma's like, what does that even mean? That's not a word.
Okay, well before that we got to talk about the coup d'etat, Jake. We got to talk about the glasses gag.
Oh yeah, it's like. Guys, I dropped my glasses. It's like, oh, here we go.
So this is the most priceless gag in the whole thing. It's like, okay, we're finally calling out the glasses thing. Like,
Fred's like, a glasses strap. How many times have I told you? A glasses strap.
And this Fred's just ranting. Oh, she wants us to do it. She can't find it herself because she's helpless. Like, oh,
she's blind as a bat without him. It's dark genius.
So man, like Fred's just letting everyone have it. He's snapping at everyone but the dog.
Yeah, well, and they're not voiced by the same person at this point yet.
I know, oddly for a change, but yes.
Well, I mean, it only happened started happening in like 2005.
Well, I know. I'm just saying in this instance, given how kind of occasionally used to it or synonymous it is. But in this case, Scott Inez was Scooby-Doo, so he had a different. Shaggy and Scooby were the same guy, but anyway.
Yep. And I still think Scott Innes is like the closest we got to Casey Kasem.
I would concur, honestly.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Matthew Lillard's take on Shaggy.
Lillard's more of a passing of the torch. Scott Inez is like, okay, if you need like the sound alike, you need someone to embody Casey Kasem versus like passing the torch to the next era of Casey Kasem. It's going to be, Scott Inez is your guy.
Yeah. I mean, Scott basically pulled triple duty for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but we'll get to him later. But they're all like, but yeah, like Fred's basically hiding the fact that he's scared behind snapping at everybody.
Absolutely.
Because usually like he's in control of the situation, but here the situation is basically crumbling right in front of him like a cookie.
I love like the live action glasses, almost like a Dora the Explorer thing, where they're right there, Fred.
Yep. And rewatching this, I was almost like, oh, they're going to step on them.
I know, right? That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought Fred was going to step on them by accident, but kind of out of spite.
That just reminds me of the Scooby-Doo and Johnny Bravo crossover.
Yeah.
I remember it was like they did the whole glasses thing there too. Like, I can't see without my glasses. And then
I can't be seen without my glasses.
Exactly. We need to cover that one of these days too.
Oh well, Jay, we already covered it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Never mind then.
So, anyway,
yes, I'll agree. I'll agree with that statement.
To a degree, but when you look back on it,
I mean, he was overused in the early stuff.
I mean, look, I'll take him for like the few movies that he was in. But
I mean, he was good in Boo Brothers.
That's what I'm saying. Like Scrappy-Doo, he had like I think he had 3 bites of the apple, but that basically it was a question of either give him the 3 movies or give him the show, but don't give him both.
I mean, like I said, I think my first exposure to Scrappy actually was like the Boo Brothers.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So you have like the Reluctant Werewolf, Boo Brothers, and Ghoul School.
Yeah, and he was actually good in those movies.
That's what I'm saying. Those are look, they're not top tier Scooby-Doo movies, but they're solid. They're fine.
I mean, that was before. Like that was like during like the early Turner days and Hanna-Barbera days too.
Yeah.
Before they got merged into Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Fred stepping on Velma's glasses out of spite would be an extra layer of I'm over it.
So over Velma right now.
Yep. In more ways than one.
Yeah. So anyway, so the whole there they are right there. So that after that, that's when things get really like he's saying zoinks, and then Velma like he tries to incur some wrath here. It was like zoinks, what does that even mean? Oh, maybe I should start saying jinkies, and they're all laughing their heads off. Like, oh man, finally somebody called Velma out jinkies.
And it's just like, and he's like, jinkies, we've been like totally zoinked.
Which is just really fun. I got to admit, the one time we kind of have to reference is the fact that we're giving Velma a lot of punishment in this special. It feels almost like a Nostradamus thing. Like years from now, it's going to be warranted. Not right now, but years from now.
Well, not this version of Velma.
I know that's what I'm saying. It's like almost like a little warning of like in the future is going to be a multiverse version of Velma, and it's not going to be liked. So this is kind of like all that ire directed towards that.
Like, yeah, but although it makes it clear like everyone's like getting barbs in at each other.
That's it. It's very
basically except Scooby. He's just basically there along for the ride.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Velma was snapping at Scooby. So.
Well, I know, but he gets it less than they do.
That is true. I mean, he's the beloved mascot. He and the car are the beloved mascots of Scooby Gang.
Yeah, the beloved mascots, the dog and the van.
Yeah, but honestly, they're more distressed over the van than the dog. I mean, there's one scene where we do have the whole like Scooby-Doo. Where I mean, again, out of context, this is kind of terrifying with a happy punchline. But it's like they're all screaming like "Scooby-Doo, where are you?" at the top of their lungs, which as a marketing thing is really funny. But still, it's like, oh man, they're really concerned for where Scooby is, and like, oh, over here.
And they're just like, oh.
That's gold. That's perfect. You have some concern, you have a little layer of emotions, and then also we're getting the name of the show in there, and oh, well, there he is. He's fine.
Yep, it's like, yeah, Scooby's fine. He's just over there. It's like, why is he over there? Who knows?
Quote Dean Winchester, I take a bullet for that dog, man.
I think all of us would take a bullet for that dog.
Yeah.
Although he'd probably eat it.
Well.
I mean, he'd probably eat it with not knowing what it was.
Possibly, yeah.
But I think we can all safely say. I think we'd all safely say that we'd all take a bullet for that dog.
Yep. I still love in like one of the.
I mean, he's a talking dog. How can you not?
I still love in like one of the. I forget if it's Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. They had like Scooby-Doo meet Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman was so nice to him.
Yep, that was such a good. That was an underrated show.
Yeah.
Although he's also in the Batman ones.
Well, of course, I love yeah.
And that was like one of the last times Kevin Conroy actually voiced Batman.
Yeah.
But still. And of course, we got Mark Hamill back as Joker as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, I love that whole episode. Like, I am the Knight, I am Batman. Yeah. It's amazing how many times Scooby-Doo's actually crossed over with Batman.
Yep, I mean, at least 3 different Batmen.
Yep, the original Filmation one, the
Filmation, Diedrich Bader, and Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. So that's a lot of Batman.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Here. Over here. Oh.
All right, so then they're hearing like horrific noises, and it's actually Scooby and Shaggy's stomachs growling.
Yeah, and then later on they hear noises like something being torn to their bags, and it just turns out to be Scooby eating all the food.
We have the footprints gag.
What do you mean you've been going around in circles?
And again, it's almost like it's kind of a superimposed sort of thing where they have like the cartoony footprints on the.
And you can see Scooby's paw print.
Yep.
Code Geass and Richard Zector's having an argument about Scrappy.
Well, we'll save for when we get the Scrappy, then we'll put all that out there.
All right, I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, so we have a panicked Fred. We see Fred is just not calm. This really bothered me. This is going to sound really small, but it's really bothered me. The ascot's the wrong color.
What do you mean?
When he's in the fetal position, we see him with the ascot tied or like a bandana on his head.
I thought that was a different thing. He had a separate beanie on his head.
But I mean, where's his ass? His ascot's missing in that shot, though.
Was that before or after he said that he lost it?
Well, that's the thing. It's this weird, Jacob. I gotta be honest, man. There is this. I'm paranoid about this special because of all the versions of it. If perhaps the order might have been out of order. Perhaps if events were out of order with the bumpers, and maybe he lost it, and then we see him panic. But then they have the whole day-night cycle, which I think it's ordered in the correct day-night cycle. So I can't really tell you one way or another. All I know is in that scene, he is not wearing the ascot around his neck, but he's wearing what looks to be an ascot on his head that is oddly red and not the orange one. It bugs me.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know.
Seriously, seeing a Fred this disheveled and panicked compared to what it being the pretty boy. Let's split up, gang, that he always is.
I mean, even then, even when Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated kind of tackled that, it wasn't disheveled. It was just more more broken than anything else.
Yeah.
We really need to do something on Mystery Incorporated as well.
I agree. It's just it's gonna be tricky. It's the whole season of it. It's 2 seasons of a show.
Yeah, I know, but we could just plan it sometime. We don't need to worry about it now, though.
Right. Anyway, so Shaggy, let's see. So Shaggy says, "Oh man, I just want scary movies and pizza, not this."
I should be at home watching horror movies, not living in one. Mm-hmm. It is kind of interesting to note that Shaggy actually likes horror movies.
Yeah, I think they were watching the werewolf movie when it turned into a werewolf.
Yeah, and remember, he's also a fan of Vincent Van Gogh.
Uh-huh.
So So it's like, so yeah, he likes horror movies, just not being in real life horror situations, which is actually kind of similar to how, you know, how real people would react. Like we like horror stuff, where people he likes behind the scenes horror
That's the thing.
stuff,
I like horror comedy and or the making of horror.
but you wouldn't want to be in those situations.
It's like Jacob, I very recently watched like a documentary on Chucky, who I am deathly afraid of, but I can watch the making of that.
You're definitely afraid of Chucky.
I mean, honestly, I'm very disquieted by Chucky in a very real way. Just like it, but in like it's I don't know. It's the whole.
I mean, considering you're a fan of Toy Story,
That's what I'm saying. It's like a perversion of Toy Story. So in my DNA, there's something I'm just given chills by the idea of Chucky. So by that logic, but I watch the making of the Chucky stuff. Oh man, there's a little interesting production story there.
And of course, we're all fans of Young Frankenstein.
I mean, of course, I think horror comedy is perfect. But
Like I said, that's basically why I brought that up.
mm-hmm.
like Mel Brooks' best movie, probably.
Yeah.
All right.
All
So, as I was saying,
yes. So and we have like Scooby like hugging Shaggy's leg, just like they're definitely afraid. Like, no, I'm not letting go.
like it's honestly like kind of like something a real dog would do in this case. Like dogs like try to stay close to their owners. Like but Scooby's like, you're cutting off my circulation, Scoob.
He's a Great Dane. He's giant.
Well, technically, like he's nowhere near like the size of an actual Great Dane.
I don't know. Scooby's pretty big though.
I mean, I know, but real Great Danes are much bigger.
All right. Anyway,
I mean, I know it's a cartoon, but he's
I think
basically
they split the difference in that Scooby can do a bunch of stuff a Great Dane can't do, even if he is like I guess mid-sized or.
I mean, he can talk.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Can you think of another Great Dane that can talk?
Scooby Dumb. I mean, literally, there's a dog called Scooby Dumb.
I know, Jacob. Thank you for undercutting my point for Scooby Dumb. I meant like a non Scooby Doo never mind.
You mean a non Scooby Doo?
Yes, an outside property.
You didn't. That wasn't one of the parameters you mentioned.
Oh come on, man!
You said another Great.
Scooby is literally in that other dog's name.
You said Great Dane. You said another Great Dane. You said another Great Dane, Dragon.
See, why Rohit never gives me this much trouble. He's an actual lawyer.
Okay. Sorry. Moving on.
Anyway,
like what do you know? It's like we're reliving the Scooby-Doo project ourselves.
Exactly.
Like
so,
Richard's Victor's like Chucky. Oh, come on, it's not. This is the most campy horror franchise ever. Chucky is horror comedy. Read my Dragon Roast Law. All right, let's move on.
Anyway. So, let's see. So they hear the monster, but I believe we see our first glimpse of the monster, and we're running away. And then Scooby has the camera. It says, tree? Rock? Monster? Like another tree? It's like, monster. Then he runs. Monster looks kind of like a demented farmer sort.
Yep, we don't actually know what the monster is. or we don't even know who it is, really.
So Shaggy's questioning the logic of the let's see of the whole splitting up trope here, where he's like, why do Fred and Daphne always pair up together? I'm stuck with Velma.
Velma and Scooby-Doo.
Meanwhile, Fred's getting real skeptical as he's getting into with Velma over the whole amazing movie projector, but there's no outlets out here. How's that even going to work? Batteries? Oh, batteries.
What are you going to say? What are you going to say next? You have a very long extension cord.
Yep. So she's just on Fred's case, man.
Like everyone's on each other's throats in this thing.
Yep. I mean, they're probably operating on little sleep despite that tent.
I mean, they said they used Scooby-Doo as a blanket.
Yep, they're using the dog as an item.
Oh man, poor Scooby. He doesn't deserve that treatment.
Nope. So, and then we have the iconic moment here, which is directly from Blair Witch, where we have our lead character Velma, who's basically desperate, and she's looking at the camera and is like, "This was supposed to be another mystery."
We shouldn't have meddled.
Yeah, there's supposed to be another mystery in the woods. We got cocky. We got lost. The curse is real. Maybe this time we shouldn't have meddled.
Yeah. It actually is kind of creepy if you look at it for long enough.
I know, yeah, that's the thing. Like, oh man, they're kids. They're stuck. They're not getting out of those woods.
I mean, it still maintains its funny factor, but it's still it becomes more creepy and almost heart wrenching as it goes on. Like,
I mean, thankfully, it didn't go like to the next step where it would have been like, "We're sorry, Scoob. We ate all the food. That's 4 of us, and just one of you, man." Like, you know, like, well, you don't want to know what happens next, kids.
it's a gritty reboot.
Yep. This Scooby snack's for you, Scoob. He's like crying and he's eating.
It's a real life Scooby snack.
Yep. It should have been Scrappy. Oh, we couldn't find him in time.
Oh, that's just dark.
Absolutely. Anyway, so Velma, let's see. So Velma, she discovers Scooby-Doo eating all the food. Meanwhile, Daphne's having a big freak. This was the animation test. Daphne's freaking out, like I haven't even painted my nails, and she's running through the woods from Scrappy-Doo after we hear puppy power.
And it's like like Daphne, it's okay. It's just Scrappy.
I saw that James Gunn movie, the Russian Gosnell movie. I'm running from him.
Like, yeah, that was like a different version of Scrappy.
Yep. I saw what happened.
It's like, well, technically that movie hadn't come out yet.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, somehow it's like, she's kind of somehow has peaked in the future to see that movie. But yeah.
It's like, but it's just like it's just Scrappy. I know.
It's running away. Cousin Oliver in dog form. We're running away from him.
It's like, yeah, but we're still hungry. We reignited we have this, like, oh god, why are you making me imagine Shaggy eating Scooby-Doo? Scrappy deserves to be adopted.
Well, they're lost in the woods and they keep eating all the food. I mean, it's a sad inevitability. I don't want to entertain, but it's that or dead. I'm just saying, if things are as dire as they're amping it up to be, I mean, that's the kids. It ain't pretty to you that, or if they're lucky enough to find some other animals, that's what's gonna happen.
Oh boy. All right, enough of the eating beloved childhood icons.
Yep.
So, like, they're still running away from Scrappy. Like, but Scrappy then finds them. Like, hello, gang. Hi, Scrappy. Go on, Dragon. Then.
Yeah, so it's a Scrappy-Doo, and he wants to solve the mystery and fight the monster all by himself, made with him and Uncle Scoob.
Yeah, Uncle Scooby gives him a what for? What for?
The old 1-4.
Yeah, the old 1-4.
So then they leave Scrappy for dead, and that's no joke, kids. They actually leave him for dead.
Yeah, like, he goes off to fight the monster, and then he's like, "Oh, let me at him!" And then he goes, and they're like, "Okay, guys, let's get out of here."
But what's interesting? What's interesting about this is the fact that in the live-action Scooby-Doo, we had like Scrappy has an utter disdain for Fred, and I have to wonder, was that implied in the show? Because here we have a gag that facilitates that, and then we have it directly brought out in the James Gunn written movie, where it's like, hey,
I think it just might have been like everyone's nerves in this one that I amplified. Like, it's Fred.
Yeah, Freddy is like, it's Fred.
It's like he doesn't mind other people calling him Freddy. It's just like he doesn't like Scrappy calling him Freddy.
No, he's gonna drop kick that dog, man.
Yeah.
He's gonna lift him up, drop him, and like, boom.
And I think the movie exaggerated it a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me, but
I think it took kind of, I think maybe the fan base kind of reaction, like people just over time. Scrappy was a little much, or he was oversaturated, and it was like, yeah, we don't need him in this movie, and well, we kind of do, but we kind of don't.
Yeah, and then they turned him into the main villain.
Yeah. James
Gunn was actually surprised to learn that there are people out there that actually liked him.
Oh yeah.
But
we only like him for like 3 movies though, so I don't know if that's saying much.
I mean, I don't actually have that much of an issue with him myself, but then
I
again,
just think I think those movies are like the exception. Otherwise, I mean, I'd
I
have
mean,
to
I
watch
mean,
them all
I
over
mean,
for sure. But I
I
can
mean,
imagine Scrappy get old.
like I said, that might be why I have like more of an acceptance towards him than others do. I mean, because like I said, I watched Blues Brothers, the Boo
Well,
Brothers.
we've all seen Blues Brothers, Jacob.
Yeah, yep, I know. Blues Brother, and yeah, I did it again. Boo Brothers were like to Werewolf and Ghoul School. I grew up on those tapes.
Why do I have a hankering for Blueberry now?
I don't know because it's October. It's officially the first day of October.
Yes.
Like, and what a thing to start off on start off like the month with. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, I know you guys already did Jason X, but I
Well,
think
again, it was kind of like circling around like non-Halloween, it's more horror. So
this is like the first haunted holiday hijinks of October.
that is true.
So what a so what a good way to start, and what a good way to start than just leaving another cartoon character for dead.
At the end of the day, I think Scrappy was so unwelcome by everyone because it was like a semantical thing of like, so Scooby has extended family, and now we have two dogs in the mystery machine dynamic here, which is like, well, we only need one talking dog, and why does this talking dog like not have the lisp? It's like a lot of semantical things with Scrappy do when you think about it. It's like, I can see why he didn't catch on, but I can see why every now and again it's like, well, I want to shake it up, so we're gonna throw another dog in there because what's better than one talking dog? Two talking dogs. Yeah.
Like,
Anyway.
James Gunn turning Scrappy-Doo into the villain was unnecessarily mean-spirited, just like every other film James Gunn has ever made. Like,
I mean, yeah. Yes
I
and
wouldn't
no.
call. I wouldn't call all of the movies he's made mean-spirited. Like, I wouldn't call any of the Guardians movies mean-spirited. I mean, sure they have some. I mean, sure they have some like edgy elements to them, but they're ultimately about like overcoming trauma and finding family.
I mean, all I can say is there's like I can only agree with that to an extent where there's maybe a kernel of mean spiritedness in something as light as the Guardians, just in the sense of like they're misfits and they're kind of negative people, but it's an arc of like they become like they bring out the they bring out the best in each other and something really positive. So in that spirit, it's like maybe it started deep down as like maybe a little mean spirit, but it's not truly mean spirit like some of the other stuff. Like for Super is kind of like a dark take on a superhero thing. But that thing, James Gunn, even in the mean spirited aspects, there is a genuine heart at the core of the piece.
I mean, hey, look at Suicide Squad.
That's what I'm saying. Like you have Suicide Squad, and you have like Super. These are things that Super has a very emotional ending, and it's a dark, realistic take on like, yeah, if you had a superhero, like a guy dressing up in a costume, hitting people with wrenches, that guy belonged to the mental institution. He's
Yeah.
yeah.
Like this is a weird take, mean spirited and obnoxious. I couldn't finish it. Well, maybe that's why you have. Maybe that's why that explains a lot. Then Code Chaos. Maybe that explains why you have that kind of. I'm used to having unpopular opinions. Like, I mean, like I said, if you would have finished it, I mean, I can understand not liking it, but
I mean, that's the thing. Code Geass, like there is like an arc in that Guardians movie. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would have changed your tune on if you finished it, but I don't know.
look, we're not trying to call out anything, but I'm just saying it's okay not to like it. Heck, when I think one of what I mean, No Way Home is my favorite MCU film. I mean, I think that's a lot of people's favorite MCU.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's going with the unpopular opinion, where some people have issues with No Way Home, but it's favorite. So anyway,
I mean, like I said, I like No Way Home too. It's probably the best Spider-Man movie in the MCU. But like I said, I'm just saying, like I just don't see the whole mean-spirited aspect of it. All right, moving on from the Guardians.
anywho,
Yes.
So let's see, where were we? Okay, so
I mean, to be fit, and one last thing, it was actually the relation to Scooby-Doo is when I remember Scooby-Doo was when I saw the Guardian who was making the Guardians. Like, hey, that's the guy who did the Scooby-Doo movies. that's actually how I recognized his name. All right, but moving on. Sorry.
all right, let's see. So again, so Velma was chasing after Daphne and everything. She broke a nail and everything. Like her stockings ripped, and Fred's lost his favorite scarf.
Yeah, everybody's losing it.
Yep. Okay, so they abandon Scrappy. They leave him for dead. They run off and they find a drive-in, no car, but they find the drive-in, which has like 30-year-old snacks in it.
A drive-in theater.
Yep, which is cool. Then they find this house, which is like a friend's house in real life. They kind of shot at. So they turn on the radio, and this is great. They turn on the radio, and Shaggy instantly realizes, oh no!
We always get chased when there's music.
So the moment she turns on the radio and we hear music, they turn around. There's the monster, and now they're
doing the door.
They're doing the classic door dash.
The door gate. Yeah, we're not sponsored by that, by the way.
No, we're not. But still, they're doing the old door run. They go through all the doors, and then Velma ends up going down to the basement. Now we have the big Blair Witch link up.
And like, Shaggy, what are you doing over there in the corner?
I'm scared, man. Like, really scared.
It's like the scaredest we've ever seen the entire gang, really.
It is very disquieting. Like, Shaggy just utterly, like, what Scott and Ed are doing here is really good. Like, it's fun. It's fun, comedic, obviously, but still, there's a twinge of, like, genuine fear.
It's like, I mean, probably outside of, like, Zombie Island, this is, like, the most terrified we've ever seen the gang.
Yeah.
I mean, because we all remember the infamous moment when, like, they're trying to unmask the zombie.
Actually, yeah, oh, God.
It's like, man, it's the fisherman. No. It's the, like, no. And, like, maybe it's real.
God. Fred, like, oh, God, I've decapitated someone. Oh, God.
Well, to be fair, he was already dead. He put his head back on.
Well, he's piecing that together, but still, it's like I ripped a man's head off with my bare hands.
During a startup podcast, just about me and Gias arguing. Well, we have to come up with a different topic every week. And it'd be kind of short-lived if you guys actually agree on some kind of subject. But all right.
So here's the thing. So interestingly, when they did this, so the ending per Blair Witch essentially is like the camera falls and we ended very ambiguously, seeming like something bad happened after that guy was in the corner, and then monster, and then credits. So
monster or person that was stalking them, who knows?
Sure.
I mean, that's the thing in Blair Witch. We don't actually know what was after them.
Yeah. Okay. The point being, something happens and we don't know what the heck happened to the kids. It just kind of goes to black, and they were worried that the kids. There was kind of a twofold thing. One, they were worried it would really freak out the kids, as the special already kind of freaked out the kids, apparently. But the other thing, too, is that they wanted to do an unmasking payoff. So they kind of added this. They were asked to, or I guess they were asked, or like given the opportunity to add sort of this, kind of like this epilogue of sorts, where like they actually have the monster and they unmask him, and it's just the guy and the guy telling them.
It's a random guy.
Yep, just some random guy.
And then, like, why are you dressed up? It's Halloween. October 31st happens every year.
Aren't you guys dressed up for it? Like, well, wait, why are you at the cemetery? I wasn't at the cemetery.
And then we do the end, and then we turn around, and there's the monster again.
And then we tip over the camera, so things are a little better. But so yeah, and that's the end. And then we have kind of our post, kind of like our text on the screen saying, and they're still missing. They found the van, but the kids and the dog are still missing. So we still killed them off for all intents and purposes.
Yep, it actually says still missing, and then like the fake news, and it's like there's still no sign of the gang and of the kids and their dog.
Then kind of we have like this post credit thing where like Fred's talking to somebody behind the scenes, and they still called you a rip off of Blair Witch, eh?
From what I could gather, that was like something that happened in a later segment. Like I think it was like when they do like a big game kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like in 2000 after this thing had aired, and it's actually somebody from Space Ghost.
Yeah, that makes sense. I thought it was Space Ghost, but it didn't look like anyone I could recognize.
Moltar, to be specific.
There you go. Okay.
It's like apparently they escaped from the monsters. It's supposed to be another guy in a mask. So kind of an anticlimactic ending, but it's Scooby-Doo. So you kind of expect it almost to have that kind of ending. I like they unmask it as just some random guy, but still, that's just kind of what raises the question: why did the random guy attack him at the cemetery? It does raise some kinds of weird questions, and like I said, this is actually pretty creepy.
Very creepy.
Very creepy. I mean, I don't know if it ranks as being as creepy as like say Zombie Island. But, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's as classic as Zombie Island is. But what do you think, Dragon?
Well, I mean, again, it's like compared to Zombie Island, it's not entirely a fair comparison because like 22 minutes of bumpers versus like a full like kind of Phantasm level animated production.
I know. I mean, Zombie Island's a masterpiece.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is look, this is delightful, man. This is like I appreciate so much of this, and I love the humor. I love the wit. Again, it's kind of like a precursor, a prototype to Scooby Natural. I mean, I'm loving all that. It's just kind of cool to they kind of shake things up sometimes with the mystery gang because we know the formula so well. So in these rare opportunities, like the Mook animation films or the or Scooby Natural, or like the few and far between. When we do something like this, it's kind of cool to kind of really like change things up.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to have a change of formula.
It's just this thing's dripping with atmosphere in all the right ways.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a different kind of atmosphere. To bring it up again, a different kind of atmosphere than what was explored in Zombie Island.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Zombie Island was definitely more like it did have atmosphere, but it was more like in your face. Wow, everything is real. This is like a real threat kind of thing. Whereas this is like kind of like builds upon like has more like though it's like still focused on being comedic. It definitely has more like a tense, like slow burn atmosphere. So it is kind of interesting when Scooby-Doo does tap into different kinds of horror. I mean, instead of just like being like a comedic 20-minute romp, with like featuring running from guys in mess. It always is kind of nice when they delve into the more horror aspect of what's there. And even some of the recent stuff has done that, like not as necessarily horror related, but like Abracadabra Do kind of like did that. Like and recent stuff has like delved into like what if the monsters were real again. So and of course like one of the more recent ones involved DC supervillains. So there's all kinds of stuff that can. So let's just say the Scooby-Doo formula has lasted as long as it has for a reason.
All right. So let's thank the viewers, Jacob.
All right. We have Richard's victims and Code Geass who still have the whole thing regarding Scrappy. And I believe, let me see if any, we had Theme Park Priest show up, but he only commented like once or twice. And Little Blue was here, so I think that's everybody.
All right.
We had a lively discussion tonight. A lot of it involved like them arguing about Scrappy and then the whole Guardians thing and stuff like that.
Yeah. But
either way, we can say like, I guess I can give my final thoughts on this as well. It's like, yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun. Like, it's funny. It definitely has creepy moments that I would like to see like Scooby-Doo like take risks like this again. Like, and just Cartoon Network in general take risks like this again. I mean, I don't know if they have like creative bumpers on like this anymore, but it would be nice to know that they haven't forgotten how to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you think that's it, Dragon, or do we have any last words?
I think that's it.
All right. And all right, folks. That's the end of tonight's spooky selection, and our spirits grow weary, but we'll be even stronger than ever next time as we engage in even more haunted holiday hijinks. Scooby-Doo, where are you?
Over here.
Oh.